In my little black book that I keep for notes, quotes, and anecdotes, I have only one note relating to the late Margaret Thatcher. And it came to mind as I was reading this section in John this week. And her quote goes like this. She's speaking to a group of people, politicians, and she says, "If you set out to be liked, you would be prepared to compromise on anything at any time, and you would achieve nothing. If you set out to be liked, you would be prepared to compromise on anything at any time, and you would achieve nothing." But in her case, neutrality seemed not to be an option at all. And I begin in this way this morning because if we are honest, we like to be liked. Nobody goes out of their way in order to be opposed or disenfranchised or just unliked. You don't go to school in order that people might not like you and so on. For example, in Luke chapter 6, in the context of the instruction of Jesus that he gives to the people gathered on the plain, he says to them, woe to you when, and this is verse 26 of Luke 6, woe to you when all people speak well of you, for so their fathers did to the false prophets. Now you'll notice that word all there is very important. He doesn't say, woe to you when people speak well of you. He says, woe to you when all people speak well of you, because in actual fact, that's what happened when the prophets of old decided that they would tell the people what they wanted to hear. And so in order that they might be the beneficiaries of the approval of those to whom they speak, they then altered their message in order that they might enjoy that approval. Eugene Peterson, paraphrasing that section of Luke chapter 6, does a wonderful job, I think. This is what he says. There's trouble ahead when you live only for the approval of others, saying what flatters them, doing what indulges them. Popularity contests aren't truth contests. Look how many scoundrel preachers were approved by your ancestors. Your task is to be true, not popular. It's very, very important, and I want to take time to set context for this morning so that we minimize the potential for going wrong. Jesus is speaking here of situations where it is our relationship with him, our relationship with Jesus, that causes rejection or condemnation. It is because we are in Christ, because we are for Christ, because we are prepared to speak the name of Christ, not because we've been unkind or we've been obnoxious or we've been bitter. What he's saying is that for the follower of Jesus, sooner or later, if you live for Jesus, you will discover that you're not liked. Now, think about this. We think about young people in the context of this weekend and going to school in an environment that does not affirm the things of Jesus. If you want to just hide your light under a bushel, if you want just to go silent on the subject, you can probably skate through unscathed. But if you're prepared actually to say, no, I do believe in Jesus, I do believe that Jesus is the way and the truth and the life, and so on, don't expect them to hold parties in your name and affirm your convictions. Whenever the disciple of Jesus, whether in the first century or in the 21st century, whenever the disciple proclaims this word, presents the truth, and by so doing exposes the plight of our neighbors and our friends, of contemporary man, whenever we are prepared to do that, we're not actually welcomed. We're hated. Now, people may not say things like, I hate you, but you'll find that you are sidelined, that you're excluded, that you're damned by faint praise. People say things either to you or behind you. And part of our problem in dealing with these things is that it's not that we don't have a biblical understanding of what it means to be in Christ. Many of us don't have a biblical understanding of what it means to be without Christ. We don't have a biblical understanding of the nature of the world in which we live. That the world, Romans 8, is at enmity with God. That the world is actually opposed to God. That in its projections and convictions and expressions in lifestyle, it is saying we will not have a God to rule over us. We will create our own idols. We will fashion them, those that we can handle and can handle us. Who do you want to be loved by? You want to be loved for the right reasons and hated for the right reasons. So having been chosen out of the world, we no longer share its opinions and its practices. Because the world, as I've said, that was made by God is in rebellion against God. And therefore the life of the Christian in the world is ultimately a life of conflict. Why? Because the same grace that reconciles us to God antagonizes us to the evil one. That we have become a friend of God and an enemy of Satan. And his opposition is there.